Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to your morning watch list here at the Boiler Room Trading YouTube channel. Last night was an epic shit show, but it was awesome. I even came home to watch it with my parents, and when I walked into the living room, they were sitting there with popcorn. So it was actually pretty funny, the fact that we're always like, oh, get the popcorn ready, and I come home and my parents are actually looking at watching it with popcorn. So basically, last night was just, again, an epic shit show, and that's the United States for you. That being said, let's get into this morning watch list. Ironically enough, the market ended up dropping last night, probably because of the presidential debate. What we came to realize is that the two people in charge of the country just are complete jabronis. One of them can't shut his goddamn mouth, and the other one can't really speak too well. So again, on both sides of the playing field, no matter if you're on Joe Biden's side or if you're on Donald Trump's side, either or, everyone's looking at the other side like they're idiots. So if you take the market and divide it into two, everybody's thinking the other's an idiot right now, and we can't trust either or. So the stock market goes down. It was pretty funny. That being said, the market actually pulled back down here on the S&P 500 last night and into this morning, right down to support. Okay, you can see this 329 mark here, and sorry for the loud background noise. Again, I'm not in my typical office working right now, so that'll be back in around mid-October. I'll be back in my own office and things will be back to normal. So you can see here we have pulled back down to the 329.64 level. Okay, this is the 4-hour time frame. So market goes up, we pull back down right to support. This is something that we mentioned could very well happen over the course of the next couple days. Now what we'll be looking for is the market to resume back into the uptrend. So if we could think about this for a second, market kind of bottoms, we bounce, we pull back to support, we start to trend back up. So yes, there is a good chance that we're going to be seeing this market push back up off of this support today, or at least attempt. Okay, you can see markets came down, bounce, bounce, kind of curling up. So for me, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to be too short biased this market or bearish this market right now until we see markets get weakness and start to go below 329. Because for now, we just went through a pullback. We are holding, so we want to think up before down. And so we'll think up, and if we're wrong and markets start to come down, then we can get bearish below 329.73. So that's for you on the S&P 500. Really quick, nothing really too much to go over there. Now we'll head on over to the NASDAQ or QQQ. Take a look at this. Okay, so if we go over to the Qs, let me delete all these old drawings so we probably don't need them. Okay, let's look at the daily chart because we have nothing on the 4-hour chart. So if we look at the daily chart, let's see what levels here. You see that little trend line, that little bing, bing, bam, boom. Let's put a line there. Bing, bing, bam, boom, 270. Now it's going to look at the 4-hour chart. And what do you know? We're pulling back towards that trend line. So the S&P 500 has actually hit support. The NASDAQ has yet to actually hit the daily chart support. Let me just double check. Yeah, bing, bing, bam, boom, 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 boom. Yeah, okay, so NASDAQ has yet to hit support. So therefore, the NASDAQ actually might continue to see some weakness today, okay? Now, what I want to mention is that the Qs or the NASDAQ is playing a bigger role or is having a bigger cause and effect on the overall markets right now because, again, most of your big tech stocks that really control a lot of the market movement these days because their market caps are so big are primarily, well, I don't say primarily, but a lot of them are composed into the NASDAQ. So again, today in this market, it seems that you can get a better understanding for overall direction of stocks and or the market when you follow the Qs or the NASDAQ as opposed to the S&P 500. Because the tech stocks are like just juiced up on crack these days and have been for a long time. Their market caps are insane. So, you know, pretty much anytime Apple or Tesla or Facebook, you know, gets hit on a bad day, you know, it's best to probably follow along with the Qs. So for now, on the QQQ or the NASDAQ, we don't really see any strong trending support on our longer time frames down until about 270 for the current time being. Doesn't mean that it has to go there, but that's where the longer term stronger supports are at, okay? So, you know, if you're watching the cues, you might even suggest that we're going to stay bearish here. So maybe what we need to do here is start looking at some of the bigger stocks that weigh in on these indexes to get a feel for what the markets might actually want to do. So let's see if Apple has anything bearish going on that might suggest a pullback, okay? So Apple jumped back up to the trending resistance there. We even pushed up on the candle, rejected here. Okay. Yeah, we have pullback support down to 108. You had a resistance here at 117, which I don't even think we hit. Let me just double check. No, we didn't even hit that. So for me, you know, to be honest, I'm just pretty much neutral. You know, as much as I want to give you guys some straight to the point, concrete, detailed, how to maneuver this market right now, there's really not a whole lot to really do on a day like today so far. It's more or less one of those days where you're just kind of neutral, because we told you know, everybody that follows the channel that your low risk entry for the markets were going to be down here on the Qs, okay, and your targets would be that trend line up there, and then the same thing for the SPY. Your long entries were going to be down here, excuse me, 1 second, in the 320s, and then you'd bounce it. So we've done the bounce. Now we're kind of into this hesitation, pullback, you know, moment where we can move higher. We could retrace a little bit more on the pullback. So again, I'm just kind of neutral in this environment. All right, I'm not really looking to trade off these big daily range points because they're not really there. So what I'll probably do is just stay focused on the intraday levels as we would normally do, which again, for the SPY, 332 is the first resistance on the up. Next resistance on the up past that, 333. Super mega resistance today on this is going to be 335. Super mega support will be at probably 327. Decent good support is going to be 328. Okay support is probably going to be 329. So again, you can look to all of those levels as we go up to them, trade opposite that market, okay? So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, those are really the bigger indexes. Again, not a whole lot to really go over there, okay? So now what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at some of the penny stocks that are moving around today. Again, wasn't too crazy about any of them. So if we go take a look at CTIC, right now we are on support and it's trying to bounce. It doesn't really look all that great to me, but this is where low risk long traders are going to be looking to get in. And honestly, if you bought it as it came down to here, you could have made money already. The move's kind of underway, so if this is going to be a failed move, you'll put yourself into a little bit of a higher risk position because you're not buying down here. Again, typically the way this works is if in the event, not if in the event, we know that this is low risk. So when the price gets there for the first time, if we trade opposite, we will usually put ourselves into a winning trade. Whether that trade becomes a monster or just ends up being small, by taking the entry at the lowest possible risk point, you can usually ensure yourself a small win, a bigger win, a break-even trade, or very small loss. But if we were to get long here, when we know we're over the low risk trend of 235, we're still susceptible to a pullback down to 235, and then it could bounce off 235 and keep going, and then we get stopped out. So again, it's very important that you're taking those low risk entries where you need to be. That being said, CTIC, let's take a look at the daily chart. That's not going to help for right now. 1 second. So CTIC has pullback support on the 4-hour chart at $2.10. If we look at the daily chart, we should be over that. So we have this there. Sweet. Let's take a look at a 3-hour or like a 3-year chart. See if there's anything that goes back really far. Yeah, I mean, kinda. You might have a move up to 277, which we probably already hit. Let's see. No, we went all the way up to 382. So we got right there. Bing. All right. So to be honest, not crazy about this. So far it's been fading out, but I will tell you this. If this can manage to stay above the 235 price, you might be able to see a long. If it starts to break down 235, it's going to fade out a little bit more, and then what you need to look for is sort of a U-shaped consolidation for a U-shaped breakout move. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's take a look at ITRM. This popped up earlier today. This is attempting to do a longer-term developing kind of flag pattern. You can kind of see we had the move up, pull back, move up, pull back, now kind of another move up. So if you were to draw trend lines, okay, it's kind of got a flag pattern going on right now, okay? So you can see it's trying to do like this bullish pennant sort of formation, okay? Right now you have resistance right at pretty much the midway point of like $1.45, $1.46. So this stock cannot, repeat, cannot pop higher until it gets to the trend resistance right here. We're right at it. Okay, we can't pop too much higher until we successfully go to that point. So we're crossing it, but we have yet to even close over it. You can see we've gone to it right there in the middle, hit the trend, back down. Okay, so we can't really break out until we successfully go through that. Okay, now if we look at the longer term chart, you're going to see that this has already ran into resistance. Okay, but this is good because we're only at one standard deviation here. We've only deviated away from the average by one so far. We might get a 2 deviation move, which could put us all the way up to like say 240 on the day. So that's what I was optimistic about, is maybe we can actually see that we successfully break this resistance. Right now we're over it. The resistance is 140, so now it's support. But the daily chart has the, deviation mark here at 145, which I just looked at. So these two prices in between 145 to 140 are the 4-hour and 1-year day trending resistance points. So if we can successfully stay up and above here, this might turn into a good move today. So we will keep watching ITRM. It's going to be one of the most popular as we watch, just because it's seeing good volatility, it's seeing good range both ways, up, down, recovery. And so it's been holding well. We'll watch this for continued moves. But right now, the lower risk support level is actually at 126. And then your resistance point is going to be at an intraday level of 165. You will have to break the 165 intraday trending resistance to get that big rip to the upside, which can take you to the 202 price target, and then even the 240 intraday price target, which then matches up with your longer term level. So I just said a bunch of stuff at you that you probably don't even understand, but nonetheless, pretty much I'm telling you that you're high risk on getting long unless it was off this level down here at 128, and if the long moves does work, you're not going to get a ginormous rip until you go through 165. Okay. On to the next stock. Did we do CTIC? We did CTIC. You can see it's cracking that 135, getting a little weakness. What's this ALNA? That looks like trash. A lot of selling activity on that already. There was a stock earlier this morning, YJ. That looks like trash. JFIN. That looks like trash. WATT. That looks like trash. CVAC. That's not even a penny stock, but sure. SEEL, that looks like trash. MRNS, I haven't seen this in a long time, but that's super low volume. We won't trade that. ETON, that kind of looks like trash. Too light on the volume side. We can keep going down this list here, but most of them, again, are going to look like trash. CPST, that's trash. EVGN, trash. SINO, trash. All right, on to the next one. PERI, garbage. DUK, that's not even a penny stock. SRGA, trash. So, I mean, it's possible all the ones that I said are trash have this really lucky move, but again, really the main focus here today is going to be on ITRM for most people. All right, in terms of penny stock, that's where most of the activity is probably going to be. And even then, it's not really crazy about it. Yesterday we had the stock ADIL have a really big move. That ran into longer term resistance points as well. Or wait, no, I think it broke over the long term trending resistance point, but this 232 was the price target we mentioned on the downside that it would come back to. So let's see, or close to. Yeah, so you can see the trending support is at 238, 237 there on the daily chart, and on the 4-hour chart it's down at 211. So yesterday we traded this a little bit, did a couple trades. I think I made like $400 on it later in the day, but we were mentioning as it was up at 4 that the target was going to be about 230 to 213, and as you can see we have retraced back down to the first trending support level here. So that being said, ADIL, probably isn't going to be a great trader for us today. Probably won't watch too much of it. But you might see some sort of bouncing activity down here in these prices because, again, that is the long-term trending support level that we just retraced to after yesterday's move up to $4. Okay. Good notable mention will be NEO, I believe, because that was the one yesterday I told everybody to keep an eye on for a long bias trading breakout, and sure enough, it happened beautifully. So Those of you that watched yesterday's watch list, we told you to keep this on watch. Turned into a fantastic run all the way up, and it's still going. So I would anticipate momentum continues here. I have yet to see it. So if you're going to be trading this today, pretty much just go for a target of 22.42. So you got about what's that, 70? So you got maybe like a 70 to 60 cent target on the upside. Anything more than that's a little bit of a stretch, I would say. Actually, let me rephrase that. It can go over the price of 21. It can very well go over this price of 22.40. But when we get there for the first time, we'll most likely pull back. So if you saw the price of the stock at 22.40 for the first time of the day, you're like, I'm going to go long, I guarantee you lose instantly. Okay, maybe not instantly, but you're probably going to put yourself in a losing trade. If you see the price go to 22.42 and then you let it pull back and then you get long, you'd have a higher chance of winning on that trade. So again, listen carefully. You have about a 70-cent price target to the upside on the stock NEO today. The first time it gets into the 22.40, 22.35, 22 maybe 50s, again over under 5 or 10 cents, give yourself some wiggle room. You will most likely see resistance. You will most likely see this pull back some. The trend could continue going up through that point, but the first time we get there, you will most likely see red. You will most likely see sellers. So if you go long into that price point for when it first gets there, again, you'll probably go red. So you just wait for the pullback. And if at that point you still want to be long bias the stock, then you would get in. Okay. So let's say it does go through 22.42. What do we have next? You would have this price point here at 25.30, but guess what? 25.30 won't get hit because this thing doesn't even have an average true range that big. So that's very illogical to think we're going to go to 25 because this thing doesn't have that big of an average true range. It probably has like a $2 average true range. So let's take a look at the daily chart, and the daily chart would suggest if we go through 22.42, then we got a target here at about 22.69. And so that's what we're saying. We're basically saying right now the target on the day is about as high as maybe 23, but probably 22.70 to 22.69 for now. Okay. Since NEO is getting some activity, I was thinking that it's actually probably a good idea to keep an eye on Tesla. Now, if you watched the presidential debate last night, it basically looked like two schoolgirls or two little schoolboys, because, again, we're not sexist here, so it's all politically correct. So, again, it could be little two schoolgirls or two little schoolboys bickering back and forth. And but an important thing that was brought up was the renewable energy, electric cars. And so, as many of you guys know, that's pretty much just the future. And if you don't think that it's a future, I don't know where you've been. You must have been living under a rock, okay? But it is going to be in the future. It's going to be in our world. It's going to stay. If we look at the 4-hour chart here on Tesla, it kind of has like a little mini bull flag, okay? So I'll draw that out for you. And please do like this video. Comment on this video. I don't even care if you comment the smiley face or if you comment the letter K. The YouTube algorithm just wants to see people liking and commenting videos, and that's how they know that the content within the video is good. So if you honestly think this content is good, it's valuable for investors and traders, please like, please share. That's the only way that I can get these videos out to the traders that need to see them, or else they're going to watch some other video about a VWAP pullback shit strategy that probably doesn't even work. Okay, so take a look. We have a little bull flag going on here. Okay, so there's kind of like this up move and the bull flag in between. So I think there's a situation where you could see Tesla kind of do a little breakout move in this bull flag, and you could target maybe the 440s. And so I'm a little bit optimistic on this play because NEO is moving. And since NEO is seeing some movement, it might cause some sympathy over to Tesla. And we know that last night in the presidential debate, they were talking about renewable energies and electric cars. So, you got the presidents of the future presidents of the United States talking about the future, and they bring up electric cars. So there might be some optimism there that could drive Tesla up. But again, I would say that the most important thing you can do to find overall direction amongst most of your stocks is most likely just going to be following QQQ. All right, so if QQQ gets bearish today, then there's a good chance everything else kind of gets bearish, okay? But so far it's holding and we're grinding up, so that's good, right? So for that matter, we're probably going to stay long for right now and hope that Tesla does a little flag breakout. And that's really all we have for you guys today. I wasn't too crazy about anything else. There you have it. Hopefully something awesome happens today, happens during the middle of the day, and we can make some more money today. So I hope you guys liked the video. Hope you learned something new. Thanks again for tuning in. Comment on the video, hit the thumbs up button, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.